Good evening, everyone. Let's just take a moment. Close your eyes, slow your breath, and center yourself in this space. I want you to feel this, not just hear it. Feel it in your heart, in your body, in the field around you. There comes a point in every journey where effort alone is not enough, 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 not enough. You've strategized, you've worked hard, you've done everything the world told you to do. You've checked the boxes, kept the faith, and maybe even bent until you nearly broke. And then you hit that wall, that moment where the path disappears, that place where nothing you do seems to work. That is not your failure. That is the threshold. That is the moment the human ends and the divine begins. When you reach the end of what you can do, God will step in and do what he can do. Now, let's go deeper. We are not just bodies living in time, we are consciousness moving through eternity. We are energy, frequency, and when our limited mind finally releases the need to control every outcome, we create space for the infinite to enter. Science shows us that the heart has an electromagnetic field thousands of times more powerful than the brain. When you align your thoughts with elevated emotions, gratitude, love, surrender, you're not just feeling better, you're tuning your body to a different frequency. And guess what happens when you do that? You tap into the field. The divine intelligence that knows where every sparrow lands and how every flower blooms. You become less matter, more energy, less survival, more creation. And in that space, miracles are not exceptions. They are the natural outcome of alignment. So when you've done everything in your power, when you've shown up, stayed present, and refused to let your heart close in the storm, don't despair when you reach your limit.
That limit is sacred because that's where he begins. And he is not just some distant deity in the clouds.
He is the intelligence that designed every cell in your body. He is the awareness within you, around you, and beyond you. He is possibility itself. When you reach the edge of your ability, surrender your need to force it. Let go of the how. The field doesn't need a 5-step plan. It needs a willing heart, an open mind, and a body aligned with the energy of trust. Don't wait until things fall apart to start tuning in. Start now, because when you truly let go, when you stop trying to make it happen and instead allow it to happen, you'll witness things unfold in ways that defy logic and linear time. You'll look back and realize that wall you hit, it was a door. That breakdown, it was the space between the old and the new. That silence, it was the sound of God stepping in. So to the one who's done all they can, who's prayed, cried, hoped, and hung on, you are not at the end. You are at the beginning. Step aside. Let him in and watch the impossible become inevitable. There comes a moment in every person's life when they encounter something that feels immovable, an obstacle so great that no amount of striving, planning, or pushing seems to make a dent. It's in this moment that many feel they've failed, that they've run out of time, options, or strength. But what if this moment isn't a sign of defeat, but a signal that you've reached the outer boundary of your own human effort? What if instead of being the end, it's actually the beginning of something far greater than you? The limit you're facing is not a dead end, it's a threshold. It's the place where the finite meets the infinite, where your doing stops and divine being begins. Most people misunderstand this point and give in to fear, frustration, or self-doubt. But in reality, this is the most sacred space you can step into. When everything you know to do has been done, and you're standing at the edge with nothing left but your breath and your awareness, you're not alone. You're in the presence of something greater. This threshold isn't about effort anymore. It's about access. Access to higher intelligence, to divine wisdom, to the unseen energy that orchestrates all of creation. At this point, the very field of possibility begins to reorganize itself around your surrender. And that surrender isn't weakness. It's the highest form of trust. It's the moment when you stop trying to swim against the current and allow the river to carry you. So many breakthroughs are born at this edge, not because we figured it out, but because we finally stepped aside. The mind quiets, the heart opens, and something profound begins to move. The intelligence that breathes you, that beats your heart, that keeps galaxies spinning begins to respond. We live in a culture that praises effort, discipline, and relentless pursuit. From a young age, we're taught that success comes to those who hustle the hardest, grind the longest, and never stop pushing. But there's a point in the journey where effort alone stops being effective. You can strategize, plan, and execute every step with precision, and still nothing shifts. That's the moment when effort meets its edge, and a deeper intelligence begins to call you inward. It's not that effort is wrong, it simply has its limits. Beyond that point, something else is required. Something that doesn't come from force, but from surrender. Surrender isn't giving up. It's tuning in. It's recognizing that there's a greater rhythm to life than the one we're trying to control. When we let go of our need to manipulate the outcome, we create space for something higher to step in. This isn't passivity, it's alignment. It's the awareness that your personal will must eventually meet divine timing. Timing. You stop insisting and you start listening. You stop pushing and you begin receiving. It's the shift from trying to make things happen to allowing them to unfold. In this state, your nervous system relaxes. Fuff. Your heart opens, your energy expands, and what once seemed stuck begins to move. Because you've moved. Not in action, but in consciousness. The surrender becomes a frequency, a signal to the field that says, I trust, and that trust creates resonance with forces far beyond your linear thinking. You begin to access the intelligence that built oceans, that spins planets, that breathes through every living thing. It's only when effort ends and surrender begins that the doors you couldn't open on your own begin to unlock effortlessly. You are not just a physical body navigating a material world. You are a field of energy, a consciousness expressing itself through matter. Most people move through life identifying solely with their physical form, their roles, their past, and their limitations. But the truth is, beneath the surface of who you think you are is a vast, intelligent energy constantly interacting with everything around you. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every belief you hold is energy, and that energy is shaping your reality. When you begin to shift your awareness from the purely physical to the energetic, you start to understand that change doesn't begin outside of you. It begins in the invisible. Matter responds to the frequencies you hold. The quantum field doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to who you are being energetically. And who you are being is determined by the thoughts you think and the emotions you embody every single day. This is why true transformation isn't about changing things on the surface. It's about becoming someone new at the level of energy. It's about stepping into a state where your thoughts are aligned with elevated emotions like gratitude, joy, and love. These aren't just positive feelings. They are coherent signals, patterns of energy that tune your body and mind into a new future. When you consistently embody this state, you begin to shift your frequency. And as your frequency changes, your life begins to reorganize around it. You are a creator, not just a reactor. You're not here to respond to what is, you're here to signal into what can be. The more you identify with your energy rather than your form, the more you realize you are not separate from the divine. You are a living extension of it. The heart is not just an organ that pumps blood. It's an intelligent center of energy, perception, and connection. Science now confirms what ancient traditions have always known. The heart generates an electromagnetic field that is exponentially more powerful than that of the brain. This field extends beyond the physical body, interacting with the space around you, and it's constantly being shaped by your emotional state. When you feel frustration, stress, or fear, the heart's rhythm becomes chaotic and incoherent. But when you cultivate elevated emotions like gratitude, compassion, and appreciation, the heart becomes coherent, sending out a clear and harmonious signal to the field. This coherence is not just a feeling, it's a frequency. And that frequency has the power to influence not only your internal biology, but also the external reality you experience. The heart becomes a tuning device, aligning your entire system with a greater intelligence that is both within and beyond you. When the heart and brain are in sync, when thought and feeling are aligned, you enter a state of physiological and energetic harmony. In that state, your body begins to heal. Your intuition sharpens, your connection to the field strengthens. The energy of the heart is magnetic. It draws to you experiences that match its frequency. So when your heart is open and coherent, you're not just feeling better. You are broadcasting a signal into the quantum field that says, I am ready, I am aligned, I am available for something greater. This is not about positive thinking. It's about embodied frequency. It's not about wishing, it's about becoming. The heart is the gateway between the personal and the universal, the material and the mystical. It holds the key to shifting from survival to creation, from separation to unity, from limitation to limitless possibility. There comes a point on the path of growth where effort, logic, and control no longer produce results. You've done the vision boards, the affirmations, the planning. You've taken action after action, and still, nothing seems to move. That's because true creation doesn't come from force. It comes from flow. Control is rooted in fear, in the belief that if you don't hold it all together, everything will fall apart. But real transformation begins when you release the need to control the outcome and trust something beyond your own hands. When control ends, you enter the space of the unknown, the quantum, the field, the space where all potentials exist. This space doesn't respond to effort in the traditional sense. It responds to coherence, to alignment, presence. This is where creation begins, not from trying harder, but from feeling deeper, from stepping into a new state of being before the evidence shows up, from trusting that what you've asked for is already in motion, even when you can't yet see it. Letting go of control allows your nervous system to regulate. Your energy becomes more fluid, less contracted. You become receptive, not reactive. And it's in this receptive state that insight arises, synchronicity appears, and life begins to orchestrate events in ways you couldn't have planned. When you stop needing to manipulate every detail, you open the door for something more intelligent to move through you. The shift is subtle but powerful. You stop chasing outcomes and start embodying the energy of what you desire. You no longer operate from effort alone, but from alignment with a greater rhythm. And that rhythm knows exactly how to guide you, not through pressure, but through presence, intuition, and a deeper trust in the unfolding of what's already yours. The ego is the part of you that wants control, certainty, and predictability. When you feel deep love, joy, or gratitude, you create coherence in your body. This coherence sends a powerful, clear signal to the universe that you are in alignment with your highest potential. What many people fail to realize is that the energy of your heart creates a magnetic field. This field doesn't just influence your internal state. It reaches out and interacts with the world. When you are in a state of gratitude, for instance, you are emitting a frequency of abundance, which draws more of the same into your life. When you are in a state of love, you create a resonance that invites connection, healing, and expansion. The heart doesn't just reflect your emotional state, amplifies it, and broadcasts it into the quantum field, where it can begin to rearrange circumstances, people, and events in your favor. This is why the quality of your emotions matters so much. They are not just feelings, they are energy. They are signals that communicate with the universe, telling it how to respond to you. When you embody elevated emotions like love, compassion, and joy, you don't just change your internal state, you change the frequency of your entire life. You stop reacting to the world from a place of survival and start co-creating with the intelligence that is always available to you. This is where real transformation begins. When you hit a wall, it can feel like everything is working against you. Plans fall apart, doors close, and no matter what you do, nothing seems to move forward. This space, the space of apparent stagnation, is often misunderstood. Most people see it as a stop sign, a signal to give up or retreat. But what looks like a wall from the level of the mind is often a doorway from the level of the soul. It's the transition point between the familiar and the unknown, between what you've always done and what you're now being called into. The wall appears when the old patterns, beliefs, and strategies no longer serve where you're going. It's not there to block you. It's there to break something open. It invites you to stop pushing from the outside and start listening from the inside. In that stillness, in that pause, something sacred begins to take place. You're no longer just moving through life, you're being reoriented by life. The discomfort, the confusion, the frustration, it's all part of a deeper intelligence asking you to go beyond what's comfortable. At first, it may feel like loss. It may feel like silence. But beneath that surface, something is shifting. The wall slows you down just enough to wake you up. It brings your awareness back into the present moment, back into your breath, back into the field of potential that lives beyond what you can see. And in that space, perspective begins to change. You start to see that the wall wasn't the end. It was the moment of redirection. It's where the divine places its hand on your shoulder and gently turns you toward a new path. Not one you could have found through force, but one that reveals itself only when you're truly ready to walk through it. Letting go is often misunderstood. It's not about giving up, surrendering to failure, or abandoning your goals. It's about releasing the need to control the outcome. When you're holding on tightly to a vision, a plan, or a timeline, you're energetically creating resistance. You may believe that you need to constantly push, control, and direct every detail. But this mindset keeps you trapped in the realm of effort, where outcomes are dictated by your limited view of what's possible. True freedom comes when you release that grip and step into a state of trust. Letting go is the space where alignment can happen. When you release the need to micromanage every detail, you create room for something greater to step in. In this space, the universe can move in ways you hadn't imagined, organizing, orchestrating, and positioning things in your life with a precision you can't achieve through force. Letting go is about releasing attachment to the how and opening yourself up to the what. It's the recognition that the process of life is always unfolding in perfect order, even if it doesn't look that way in the moment. When you let go, your energy shifts. Instead of pushing from a place of lack, you begin to pull in energy from the quantum field, an energy that flows effortlessly and is not bound by time or space. This shift in energy creates a magnetic field around you, drawing to you the experiences, people, and opportunities that are in alignment with your true intentions. It's a paradox. By letting go of control, you don't lose anything, you gain everything. When you stop striving and start receiving, you allow the divine intelligence to orchestrate what you couldn't have arranged on your own.